Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. So today, from a lot of viewer requests, you guys want to know what my top rackets are for beginners to intermediates. So I've gathered up a bunch of great rackets for you here today. So hold tight. I'm going to start with my only pick that's not 100 square inches here, and that is the Radical. Now, the Radical only comes in a 98, and this is a Pro. So my pick would be the MP. I don't have an MP in stock right now, but the Radical MP would be my choice in the headline. It's 10.4 ounces before strings, fairly head light, easy to maneuver, good amount of power. So not overly powerful, not overly controlled, not overly flexible. So this is their number one selling racket in the headline, the MP is, and pretty much suits most people, especially beginners up to maybe intermediate advance. So good all around racket, Radical MP. The Pro, if you want a little more weight, definitely a good choice too. But Pro would be the one that I would choose for beginner intermediate. Next would be this Dunlop Fx 500. So this is 100 square inches. All right, 10.6 ounces, 100 square inches, 27 inches long. Good overall stick. If you want power, it's there. If you want control, it's there. Just string it down the middle and you're ready to go. Great choice. If you're a Dunlop fan, if you're a Pure Drive fan, Clash fan, Ultra fan, this would be a great stick for you. I could put it in your hand. You're pretty much ready to go immediately. What I call the racket of the year in the 98, well, here's the 100. Again, same characteristics as some of these other ones. 100 square inches, 10.6 ounces. So, but again, this is a Yonex. So great quality control here, great balance, easy to maneuver, easy power, definitely good control, as Yonex is noted for. So great choice, especially if you're a Yonex fan or if you like stuff that's really well made and especially made in Japan. This would be definitely a solid choice. Now moving over to a dark horse here. I recently tried this last week along with the rest of the line, the RS line. This is the 300, the T-Fight 300. I thoroughly enjoyed hitting with this racket. I probably would play with this racket if I could just add some more lead to it. It had the best feeling out of the 300, the 305, and the 315. I pretty much felt like home to me, and I could strike the ball pretty much at will with this 300. Surprisingly, 98 square inches. So I know I thought this was the only 98, but I rechecked this one, and this is actually 98. It felt like 100 to me. Solid feel. Didn't feel like a 98 to me at all. Definitely gave me the power I needed, as well as head speed. But yeah, solid overall. 10.6 ounces, 7 points headlight before strings. You know, it kind of has the same characteristics as a Pure Drive, except 2 square inches smaller, but better feel. So my pick for Tectofiber lovers or somebody who just wants something out of the ordinary. T-Fight 300 RS, great choice for those beginners to intermediates. Now going into my top 3 selling rackets here currently. Now, this new Pure Drive that's not out yet will be a top seller. It will be a top seller nationwide, worldwide. It is that good. It will probably take over the Pure Arrow as the second best, and maybe even the Clash as the number one selling racket in the world, the nation, the United States. 10.6 ounces, you know, same specs as it always is. except that it's got way better feel, way better feel. I absolutely love this Pure Drive. You have to go out and buy this racket. If you're a Pure Drive fan of any sort and you need a new racket, you just buy this racket. It's ready to go. All right, so don't waste your time. Don't waste your time demoing this. You are gonna love it. Pure Arrow. I would say this is currently the second top selling racket in the nation. For you people who want spin and love the banana yellow, right? This is your racket, right? You know I love this racket, guys. It's you know you love this racket. It breaks strings like there's no tomorrow, but you get so much spin out of this thing, it's kind of ridiculous. So they've widened out the strings and opened up the grommets for you to basically spin more but break more strings. But I've sold a ton of these this past year, and you guys continue to love it. So hey, you like bananas? This is your racket, Pure Arrow. And the #1 racket currently in the nation, Wilson Clash 100. I could pretty much put this into anybody's hands, beginner, intermediate, and you'd totally be fine with it. For you lightweights, get the 100 or even the 100 light. For you big boys, definitely get the 100 Pro or the Tour, depending on what you guys have. Pro and Tour, again, is the same. They even make this in a 98. Probably don't recommend that to beginner intermediates, but I definitely recommend the light, the 100, or the Tour Pro, either one of those, the same racket, like I said, to definitely the men out there who need a heavier racket. But the 100 pretty much suits anybody. If you're, you know, I've gotten a lot of people coming into the store saying, hey, haven't played in 30 years or 20 years, or I've never played before, right? This is an easy choice, right? I just put it in your hand, you go out and play, you'll be fine, right? So, why do I choose these rackets, and what are the characteristics of these rackets that make it good for a beginner to intermediate? Well, I don't want to put you into too much power. I don't want to put you into an oversized light racket, because you'll never learn to swing. You'll never learn to use your own power. So like all those people who use TIS 6s, TIS 5s, you know, something big and light, all you're gonna do is just pat the ball back, because there's so much power in those rackets. They're so stiff and they're so light that I call it a crutch to your game, because you'll never learn the proper technique to hit the ball back. For those of you who go out and buy like a TIS 5, a 6, or you know, something like this that's Instincts, these things are way too light for you, way too powerful for you. This is like what I say, a crutch. You don't have to do a lot. You basically touch the ball and the thing like just launches off. So, I mean, if you're gonna just play recreational, then it's totally fine. If you're just gonna play on the weekends with the family, or feed balls to your son or daughter, this thing works. But if you're gonna take the game more serious, definitely these are better choices. Now, for those of you who want to, I don't want to say suffer, but want to work a little harder, you kind of have to go for something like a blade, something like this. If you really want to learn how to swing and you're going to take it seriously, get something like this, and you'll learn to swing at the ball, how to transfer weight, how to get a perfect stroke or a better stroke, how to develop a better stroke, because you pretty much can't cheat with this. Like, you can't touch the ball and then have it launch over to the other side. You really have to, I mean, not have perfect technique, but have really decent technique to know what you're doing with this. It'll almost teach you technique, I want to say. But so that's why I kind of chose these, because it's kind of middle of the road. Not too powerful, not too big, not too heavy, right? So there's a reason why this category of rackets is like the biggest category in tennis today. So if you look at most rackets on the market, I would say 70 to 80% would be 100 square inches, 10.6 ounces, 7 points head light, right? 27 inches. What is that usually? Well, it's pretty much this racket. So I would say a lot of these rackets kind of follow suit with what this racket is and how it performs. Therefore, they're, you know, copying the specs, but changing the feel a little bit from a Babolat Pure Drive. If you were to walk into this store, what would I sell you? Well, I probably have you try a bunch of rackets first, but if you had to walk out with something today or tomorrow and you really needed to just basically go play, I mean, any of these would work. Probably Clash, Arrow, Pure Drive, like these three would be the top 3 sellers. Just because, you know, name recognition, you know, superstars behind these 2 rackets. This one is just kind of a star in its own right now, just because so many people play with it. Kind of have its own kind of star status. I mean, if you wanted to try something a little more unique, then hey, Tectafiber, Dunlop, Yonex, Head. These guys all make good rackets. So if I were you, right, maybe try a few, but if you have to have a racket right now, just walk in and just buy a Pure Drive. Buy a Pure Arrow Banana, right? Buy a Clash, right? Sometimes I'd say, what color do you like? Just because it kind of comes down to that. As you see, there's a kind of different colors, and hey, sometimes, you know, aesthetics is more than half the battle sometimes. That's just kind of how it works. But you can't lose with anything here. All right, so thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.